I went home that night and I prayed about it, and I showed up the next day and I gathered up my team and I'm like, I'm here for you. You're here for me. We're going to make this. And I just ask that you trust in me, and I promise to trust in you. And sure enough, I've had a few people drop off that team, but again, they just were not meant for the positions that they were in. But the majority has stuck with me and has stuck with the organization. So not only do they believe in our mission, they believe in me and what I bring to the table as a leader. And I've always asked them, and I've always told them, I will never let you down. I will do my best to support you in your role here. I just ask that you support me.
Welcome world, welcome family to another episode of the EL2A Podcast. I'm your host, Jamie Gilmore Jr. To right me, we got Mr. Military Man, Mr. Miles McConical. How you feeling, brother?
Feeling pretty good today. How you feeling?
Getting choked up. Here,
I hope I switched my catchphrase.
Yeah, I think our guest got nervous. So, to the right of him, we got the highest 7 hills, Mr. Eddie Rock. How you feeling today, brother?
I'm doing good today.
I know what's going on today, man. These guys, man, with Eddie News. Bump them to the right of them. We got a very, very special guest, Miss Sabrina Hughes, Executive Director of the Transition Life Center. How you doing today?
I'm well. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Yeah, I appreciate you for being here. So one of our goals with the podcast is have extraordinary people like yourself to be able to learn from your journeys and just your life experiences and how you get here, to be able to help our viewers to be able to see that everybody's not perfect. Everybody has a story, and everybody, this is life. This is what's going on. But so today, I look forward to learning more about you. All right, so start what you're doing right now. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. All right, whatever you're doing right now. I told you guys we're looking for 1,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. I think we currently have 20 more left, so you're going to be our next one. I know Sabrina's whole family is going to be watching this right now. All right, so I need you guys, you 20 that's watching, to subscribe to help us get to this 1,000. We greatly appreciate you. And again, one cool thing about it is free. All right, it doesn't cost any money to show some love, and we appreciate you if you can show some love. But to get to our conversation, all right. So Sabrina, one cool thing about, so you're the executive director. So most people see titles, and you know what I mean. They're like, okay, this is a perfect person. She's never been through anything. Look how she gets here. So I love to dive and hear people's journey. I like to see, how do you get here? Cool thing I've always heard somebody say, don't look at my glory, look at my story. All right. So I want to talk about your story a little more today. So talk about you. Tell me, how do you get here? Like, tell me about your origins, where you come from, your upbringing, how was that like, and how does that make you who you are today?
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you guys hosting. I think everybody does have a story, and you're right. It's so easy to get caught up in like what that person is today or how they live their life today. And we forget we all have a story, and we all come from something or some type of trauma, but it really molds us into the people that we are today. And it's just important to not let our differences become our divisions as we become adults. So I was born and raised in Puerto Rico, and I'm from divorced parents as well. It's something very common nowadays. And I personally went through a divorce, and I'll touch base on that in a little bit. But I come from divorced parents, and in search of a better life, my mom met my stepdad, and we moved to Virginia Beach. And I moved to this country. I knew no English. I had no idea what the culture was like. I just knew what my culture was like. And my stepdad, who I call my dad, was in the Navy. And so we didn't really get to see him much. And mom was kind of alone raising us kids. And she's learning the culture, learning the language as well. A few months after I get here, I'm thrown into second grade, which was so tough. I really didn't understand what was going on. And it was so hard, but quickly, you make friends, and I learned English. I would point to things, and the different kids would say, oh yeah, that's this, that's that. But there was also the kids that were just really high class, high end kids that come from very wealthy families, and they look down upon kind of the girl from out of town. Who is she? And I remember like eating my lunch, and they were like, your food smells bad. And it's food from a different culture. And I didn't know that, the perfect ham and cheese sandwich and a cup of milk was the standardized lunch. I'm used to different things. So that's when the molding first started. And then we moved to Florida, And I didn't go to the best high school. I'm not private school raised. I really had none of those advantages. My mom cleaned houses for a majority of my upbringing. And then after my dad got out of the military, he drove trucks. And so those are blue collar jobs. They're not doctors, they're not lawyers, but they did the best that they could. My family did not, do vacations and travel, and I did not have a luxurious lifestyle. It was, what my parents could afford and give me at the time. So, I didn't go to the most glorious high school, but I had to make some tough decisions while I was in high school. And I knew that the life I was living then was not going to dictate the life that I wanted to live when I got older. So sometimes that means you are the outcast. Sometimes that means you're not going along with what the crowd is doing and you're not making some of those poor decisions to fit in. But I really think that brought me into the adulthood mentality that I like to keep. So I got married at a very young age. We had my son, and life was pretty perfect. And then, catastrophe hits, and it's extremely hard to kind of have to uproot your life once again. But I believe in God and trust that He has a plan. And so, through that experience came the mentality of like, okay, I have to completely start over. So I applied with the job through transition.
Let me stop you.
Yes.
Let me stop you before you get
Yes.
there. All right. So let's go back. So before we get to all that, one thing I was thinking about, so you're a person that was born in Puerto Rico. And when you hear people that come from other places that come to America, they're thinking about the American dream, right? So it makes me think about, so when you were that young girl, like what did you inspire to be? Did you, when you were coming from Puerto Rico, was it kind of resistance? Like, I don't want to go there. Or was it like, I'm going to America, like I'm about to live this dream? And again, I know that's young, but can you remember back to what your mindset was at that age?
Opportunity, but I knew that it came with really hard work and sacrifices. And truly, I can sit up here on this stage and tell you what I envisioned as a 7-year-old me. I envisioned this person right here, and I'm here now today. But it has not come easy. It's come with a lot of hard work, and it's come with a lot of hate from people that don't want to see you succeed. You have your people that want to see you succeed, the people that are in your corner, the people that are brought into your life for a season, and then they leave, and you kind of wonder why that happens. And then you have the people that are rooting you on to fail in the sidelines. And those are the people that you just kind of bless and release. And you know that they're truly having some internal struggles, but you're not going to let that affect you. Your self-worth is much more than that.
Yes. And when you say this spot you're in now, so you've seen yourself always in a director, CEO type of role at a young age. So you're a bossy little girl.
Yeah. I was always very assertive. I was always very, perfectionist. But I always saw myself in some type of business role, and I really thrive on the business operation.
Yeah. So coming into your story, one thing you did say you grew up in, your high school wasn't the best. So you did go to Denellen High School.
I did.
So Denellen High School. So going from Puerto Rico to Virginia Beach, to now you're in Denellen as a teenager. So where was your mindset in? And if we're trying to go on a trajectory, now that you're in Denellen, you're probably living out there in a rural area, and it's not the most, and you don't see the big city buildings and all these different things. Are you still having this mindset of like, I'm going to be a boss, I'm going to be, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, you almost deal with culture shock again, because you come from an area that's very well developed, very high-end culture, people, housing, and then you move to rural, and the populations are different. In Virginia Beach, it's very, there's a high Caucasian population. Denellen was very high Hispanic population. So I was like, okay, I'm home, but I don't remember this, I don't remember this lifestyle or this culture any longer, because you get used to the life that you kind of live in. A lot of my friends, they graduated or didn't graduate. They graduated with families. And I just knew at the time, I said, I want something a lot more for myself. And I want to kind of break the cycle. And if I have a family in the future, which I ended up having, I want to be able to give this family all that I've got. So
yeah. And one other thing you touched on, and it always Again, you see somebody at their current point and you don't know where they come from. We had a lot of people that sat on this stage that they told this story and I'm like, what, you went through that? That happened to you?
Yeah.
So one thing you pointed out, you said that you grew up without your real father. You had your stepfather. So in the space that we work in, we cut different. We work with a lot of young people that don't have that father figure.
Right.
And it affects them a lot. It tears them down and they crave that person. You were blessed to have a stepfather, but that wasn't your biological father. So how did that affect you growing up, knowing that you didn't have your real dad in your life, if it did at all?
Yeah, I mean, it didn't really affect me personally, because my stepdad kind of filled that role. But looking back on it now, how important is that, just that motherly figure to provide that nurturing aspect, that loving aspect, and the dad to kind of provide the shell, the support. And so many families are growing up, so many kids are growing up without that. It's no wonder, we're in a troubled stage right now, where adolescents feel lost, or they're like, who can I go to with this problem? Especially young men that don't have fathers. There's so many things that as a young man, you want to talk to somebody about, or even as a young woman. And there are things I would talk to my mom about that I wouldn't necessarily call my dad about. And vice versa. Dad just gives you that, certain stability, that confidence level. And as a young woman, it's so important. And as a young man, as you go into life, what kind of life and family do you want to build? What example do you want to set for your future family? And that all starts in the home.
Yeah. So, speed. I know I'm going back on some stuff you touched on. As you were going along, you did get to the point. You just mentioned that you got married young. So, how old were you when you got married?
So I started dating him when I was 19. I was married by 21.
Ooh, playing games.
Yeah. I told you, I knew that's what I wanted. I wanted a family. I wanted to work hard. I wanted to build something. I didn't want to waste any time. I graduated high school when I was 17. I was not wasting any time when I tell you.
Yeah. You still going?
Yeah, no, and that was my picture perfect life at that point.
Okay. So to say that you got married at that young age, and then you did mention that you got a divorce. So if we're leading up to that moment, what allowed everything that you wanted? So you reached that, like, everything I said I was going to be, I'm here, I got it. Where did the fall come? Where did the fall from grace come?
Yeah, again, I mean, a marriage, it takes two people. And when you allow your differences to become your divisions, it is just bound to fail. And it truly, it's effort from both parties. We both made mistakes in the marriage, some more than others, but it just shattered. And it's the most earth-shattering, hardest thing you will ever go through, because you've spent, 12 years of your life building a life with this person, building a future. And when all of your dreams shatter, you're like, wow, you're mourning a loss. And you know those 5 stages of loss that you go through. Nobody tells you that those are going to be like up, down, all over the place. You're going to have all these emotions. And then you have to really reframe your mindset and start thinking positive. These things happen to me for a reason. I have to mourn the life that I thought I was going to have, and I have to embrace the new life that's coming for me. God has a plan for me. What is this plan right now? I don't know, but I know it's there, and you have to remain positive. And I've got a really, really good story to tell you on that, if you'd allow me to.
Yeah, please do.
So during my divorce, I decided that, I had to kind of leave my old life behind. And part of that was finding a new job, because I needed to just start over. And so I applied for the job at Transitions Life Center. And shortly after I got the role, because I was originally hired as the operations officer, shortly after I got the role, our executive director left, and it opened up a vacancy. And the board allowed me the opportunity to kind of interview for that and kind of sit through the uncomfortableness of not having an executive director until they could make a hire. The day my divorce was finalized, I'm leaving the courthouse, I'm headed back to work, I'm a mess, you have all these emotions going through you, you have just so many problems and things in the back of your mind, you have a child that you're now solely responsible for, and the thought of that is so scary, and you just have to trust. And I'm on my way back to work because we have a board meeting that night. And, I'm cleaning my tears up in the car. I'm kind of refreshing my makeup. And I'm like, okay, I just got to do this board meeting and I can go home and just cry it out. I get to the board meeting, we get through the entire board meeting, and at the end, our board president, Darren, looks at me and says, "We'd like to offer you the executive director role." So again, I didn't know a few hours beforehand that was the plan, but look at what just happened. My life transformed instantly in 12 hours. And that was the beginning of my new life.
That's a beautiful story. And it's funny. So I wrote this down and it goes right along what you said. So I'm talking about promotion. So in Psalms 75, verse 6 and 7, it says, "For promotion cometh neither from east, nor from the west, nor from the south, but God is the judge. He put us down and he set up another." So he put up one down and he set it up another.
Amen.
So you're thinking about this whole thing you just said is again, it sounds like it was ordained from God.
Mm-hmm.
And even that you blessed with this opportunity with this promotion.
Mm-hmm.
How was the unexpected promotion? So that's a big jump. That's not like nothing to take lightly. So how was that transition? How was jumping into that role of managing a whole organization?
It was a lot. I at first I doubted myself. I said, "Can I do this? I've got all of these problems going on at home. I've got, all this uncertainty. The organization has clearly suffered a shift in executive directors, which, as you know, in a nonprofit, an executive director, you are the heartbeat of that organization. You hold all the key cards. You hold all of the information. You hold your team together." So I knew I was a challenge, but I went home that night and I prayed about it, and I showed up the next day and I gathered up my team and I'm like, "I'm here for you. You're here for me. We're going to make this. And I just ask that you trust in me, and I promise to trust in you." And sure enough, I've had a few people drop off that team, but again, they just were not meant for the positions that they were in. But the majority has stuck with me and has stuck with the organization. So not only do they believe in our mission, they believe in me and what I bring to the table as a leader. And I've always asked them, and I've always told them, I will never let you down. I will do my best to support you in your role here. I just ask that you support me. And that servant leadership mentality, it takes you very far.
For sure. Now, one thing I was thinking about, you're saying this too. So that whole dynamic, that whole shift from being married to divorced. Mm-hmm. Now you're taking on a role as an executive director. You have a child. You said that you had to care for yourself. So you came into a role of a single mom at that point. So how were you able to manage both? And I asked this question because I always want to give information. Mm-hmm. A lot of the people we work with are single moms. Yeah. So how were you able to balance this new role and being a single mom at the same time?
Few things. One, it takes a village. So just because I'm no longer married to my ex-husband doesn't mean that I can't rely on him from time to time. And I'm fortunate in that for him to help me with our son. But there's a lot of people out there that don't have that. I relied on my parents sometimes too to pick him up from school while I ran to a board meeting, or just so many different things. And it truly takes a village. And again, God brings the right people into your life at the right time. I ended up making friends so fast. I ended up building a community around me. Just speaking up about what I was going through. People started connecting me with different programs and different people that had gone through similar things. And it just started, it was like a spider web. Like I just started just flourishing in a way that I did not expect. It was amazing. And I had my people cheering me on from the sidelines. You've got this, go. And it's not to say that there weren't bad days. Those bad days are going to happen to all of us. They're everywhere. But it's a bad day. It's not a bad life. And so you have to keep that in mind when you're having a bad day. And it just really took a village of people, and just surrounding yourself with people that love you and want to see you succeed, and drowning out the negative noise, because that noise is going to be everywhere. Those people that want to see you fail are going to be everywhere, and you just have to know that it doesn't really matter what they think. What matters is what's in here, your self-worth and your self-confidence.
I love it. If you can say something to single moms, because one thing I know is a lot that me watching, if all the single moms in the world were looking at you right now,
yeah.
What are some words of encouragement, or what would you say to the single moms out there right now?
Wake up, keep going. If you wake up and you get out of bed, you've already accomplished something that a lot of people don't do on a daily basis. Your children are your purpose. I know I look to my son as my purpose. So me getting up in the morning, especially while I was going through what I was going through, you're so depressed, you have so much anxieties about the unforeseen circumstances, you don't really know what's coming. And you just get up, and I knew I had to take him to school. And then I knew I had to get to work because I had to make a paycheck because I needed to make a living so that I could afford things for him and our home. And then, there were times at work when I'm like, oh my gosh, it would just be so nice to, ask my boss if I could leave early because I just need a nap today. But I'm like, nope, I'm going to just stick it through. And those people that are around you, they build you up in a way. They if you surround yourself with the right people, they're going to build you up. They're not going to bring you down. And it just started to feel good to go to work. It started to feel good to be around my people and my family. And then I knew it was time to pick up my son. He had to eat dinner. We had to do homework. So I did some coaching too, some personal self-coaching with my coach, Darren Rich. And, after you peel back those layers about what your purpose is, and you find that your purpose is your children or, your significant other, whatever it may be, you just focus on that, and you just keep going. I don't know how to explain it. You just keep going.
Yeah, no, it's leadership.
Yeah.
That's all I hear is leadership. And there's different styles of leadership. You have transformational leadership that try to lead through inspiring others. You have situational leadership that they just go by what the situation is, leadership. But you did allude to that servant leadership. That's what you just said.
Yeah.
I think that may be your form of leadership. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
So how has that helped you? Being a servant leader, how has that helped you?
Yeah, I would never ask my team to do something that I myself haven't done or I myself wouldn't be willing to do. That's the first thing. Lots of people have egos, or they get into a position and they hold a title. The title is a title, yes, but it's so much more than that. There's people that have put their trust in me. Their livelihood kind of relies on me. If I fail at my job, or if I fail and I manage the organization improperly, what does that do to our staff or the members and the population that we serve? I mean, that would negatively impact so many lives. And instead of having anxieties about that, I take great pride in that, because I'm like, I'm going to own this and I'm going to do this right, because all of these people are relying on me to do that. So as a servant leader, you put yourself last. Not to say I don't put myself first sometimes by taking a day off or getting a massage or something. But 99% of the time, when you realize that your team is what makes it, I can't tell you how many times I rely on my team to get something done or to do something. Or even today, I'm like, guys, I'm, headed to a podcast. Do you have this? Are you good with this? Are we good? Yep. Okay, perfect. It's in good hands. I don't need to micromanage. I don't need to call every time. They've got it. And that's what trust building and servant leadership is.
So starting on this stage right now, I'm a ex-Division I football player. He's a military vet. He's an ex-Division I football player. So our drive kind of comes from the game, just being wired a certain way through doing that for a long period of time. That makes me think about yourself. What is your drive? What is your motivation? Where does all that come from to help you, that push through everything that may come your way?
I started taking a lot of leadership classes. I started doing a lot of self-reflection, and I started doing a lot of self-development. The self-reflection is really hard because we all want it. Constructive criticism is hard.
For sure.
We never want to take constructive criticism, but when we take it, it's like, ooh, that hurt, or I didn't realize I was doing all that now. But if you hang around successful people, you will be successful. Those successful people that I'm around all the time, they've given me the tools to be successful. What I choose to do with those tools is up to me. So I have two choices. I can either disregard what they're telling me or what they're sharing with me, or I can take all that and put it into perspective every single day. So I'm not out on the field playing the game like you guys were, but I'm in the field every single day when I go to work, and I have to put on my game face.
Yeah, I love the way you just put that. That's going to be a snippet right there. We're going to cut that. I'm in the field. I love that. But that's a quote. I love that. But anyway, so go on, let's transition. So learned a lot about you, learned about how you get to where you are, but now you're in your current role. I want to ask this real quick, because I was thinking about what roles were you in before you got into, because it was a shift you said when you had to leave that behind and then you went into the role with TLC. What were you doing before?
I did construction before. I was a director of operations for a construction company, so very male-dominated industry. And then before that, I did community association management, so large-scale 55-plus communities. So definitely a lot of experience working with boards and leadership roles, and working with a lot of high-end leaders. It was just, I knew I needed a change, and God knew I needed a change, and the special needs community is very special.
I love that. That's good context too. But getting into that, transitioning to Transition Center. Can you talk more about the mission and vision of everything you all do?
Yes, our mission is to provide a safe, caring, and enriching community for adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. We service about 65 intellectually disabled adults a week, and most of them come multiple times a week. So we're serving about 30 to 35, we call them members, a day.
So with that being said, what is that serving? What are you doing?
So it's a day program for them, and we give them the opportunities to build friendship, grow in faith, enrich their lives, vocational experiences, just a wide range of services that they typically wouldn't be able to get if they were sitting at home. A lot of them age out of the school system at the age of 22, and then they just kind of sit at home because there's really nowhere to go, or school system was a free option and parents can no longer afford a day program. So a lot of them just kind of sit at home. So we give them an opportunity to continue on with their life skills.
So what effects did that have on families to the point where you're saying that what they didn't have TLC and these your members would have to just sit at home and be with their families and put another load on them? What effect does that have on families when they don't have an outlet like TLC?
So caregiver exhaustion is a real thing. I don't know if you guys have ever, dealt with that, even just with kids. Just general exhaustion, it's real. It can take over. And so, when we have children or we think about what we envision our lives, we think our children are going to turn 18 and they're going to move out and they're just going to continue on about their lives, and we're going to live our life with our spouse and travel and retire. Our families aren't able to do that. They're full-time caregivers. And our founders have 3 intellectually disabled boys who are all in wheelchairs, and they require a very high level of care. So what does that mean, for them? TLC is an outlet for them. TLC is a safe place where their child can come, can express themselves, can feel free to be who they are, can gain the vocational experiences that they need. We also have resources as well for families because I'm biased. I love our program. I think our program is great. There are other programs out there. I would never keep anybody from attending another program if I felt like it was a better fit, or maybe we just don't have the availability and we have to split the time between the programs. Absolutely. So we want to provide that family resources as well to be able to care for their intellectually disabled loved one to the best of their ability.
Yeah. So in the spaces that we work in, when we're working with members or whatever we call them, we like to say we don't have favorites, but we do. There's some that gravitate to us a little more than others. I want to hear any success stories, any, of your favorites that you have, that you just seen you guys, that you've seen that they come into your facility and you guys help them out. Anyone you want to share?
Yeah, we have a few. They just come from really poor backgrounds. Parents aren't very involved. Their hygiene maybe isn't the best. But they walk in through those doors and they smile, or they know that they're well taken care of, they're heard. Sometimes you just want to be heard, and where you and I could normally vocalize and communicate, I'm having a bad day, sometimes they can't, and sometimes you have to pick up on social cues to know that they need a little extra affection today, they need a little extra love, or maybe they need some one-on-one today. Or maybe their anger is a form of them expressing frustrations at home. And so when you get to help, you feel so fulfilled at the end of the day when you have one that comes in and is having a bad day, or is, they have their set of lenses that they view life with, and you're able to kind of help them through something. How rewarding is that? Like, how rewarding is it that you get to help somebody with something every single day?
Not a beautiful thing. So let's talk expansion. So you guys have been, going for a while now, and I know you guys got some plans of doing some cool things over there. So when you talk about expansion, what you guys got going on?
Okay, so we've had a waiting list for as long as I can remember, as far as more members that want to be, service, want to join the day program, and we just do not have the capacity legally, staffing wise, et cetera, et cetera. So through help with our board and a lot of community partners, we received state funding to do an expansion. So we will be expanding. It's going to be doubling the size of our facility. So instead of serving 30 to 35 members a day, we'll be able to serve just about 60. That's going to come with a few new areas that we can expand into, such as a functional unit, which is going to allow us to care for those members that require a very high level of care and need that we probably can't take right now. But when we have that specialized level of care, they can feel a purpose too, and they can feel like they're a part of something. Also with that will come autism units. We have a lot of autism here in Marion County, ranging from all different levels. And it's important to cater to that population and kind of their different levels. And then we're also going to have a sensory room. So you're starting to see a lot of sensory things here recently. Walmart has a sensory-free time where you can shop. The Riley has a sensory-free movie. Autism, sensory things, even just for normal people like you and I, we get overstimulated with certain things as well. So that sensory room is going to be a good point for like a cool off, or if somebody's overstimulated, they're going to be able to go into that room and calm down, and then we can continue on with our day without it interrupting, the general population.
So professionally in that realm of working with those with special needs and things, I know here historically in Marion County, there's a shortage of, not only services, but people that are, accredited to fulfill those roles. Is that still going on now? And if so, what can we do as a community to help, kind of create a pipeline for folks, especially in college age, to understand that, this is a heavy need, and the opportunity for, career is here for that.
Thank you for saying that. I think that's a really great question. I think it just comes to awareness. A lot of people, view special needs as almost like scary or terrifying, or like, oh, I don't know what I'm getting into. But really, they're just individuals that have trouble expressing themselves and just need to be loved on and treated like they're their own individual, and like there is nothing wrong with them. So I definitely think educating the general population. I love the idea about having other nonprofits such as Cut Different come out and just learn about the population and interact and see that it's maybe not as scary or as intimidating as you maybe thought. We do a lot of in-house private training as well, so that if it's somebody that maybe has a heart for it but has never really been in it before, we can start them at a lower level position and do the in-house training. And if it's something they want to continue with, by all means, we can provide that. And it's not for everybody. It's a very emotionally exhausting role. So to answer your question, awareness is the biggest thing.
You said something that was funny. Well, it's funny because I was in elementary then. So back when I was in Madison Street Elementary, and we had Mr. Hart. He taught us, we learned how to juggle.
Okay.
So we would take, I'll never forget, we were taking a trip to Hillcrest, and I didn't know what it was. It was my first time going. I was a good juggler. So going over there, when you realize the facility that you're going to, like you said, at first it's like, oh, what am I doing? But then the moment you get in there, you start interacting with all the students that was there. It would actually turn out to be a great experience. So at that point, we would go, like every time we had that moment to go, the opportunity to go, we would go. I would go because I wanted to interact with the kids that were there. So what are the different ways that people could come out and, I guess, interact? So I know you said we're going, so what are we doing?
Yeah, you know what? It's just as simple as playing basketball with a few of our members and having pizza. Leadership of Ocala, it's a network here in Ocala through the CEP. They come out every year and they do just that. They play basketball with our members. They listen to a small little presentation about who we are, and we have pizza. And you would think it's the greatest thing ever since sliced bread. They're there for a couple of hours. Everybody gets exposure to our mission, what we do. Our members love the different exposure to different people in the community. And that goes a long way because a lot of them don't have those opportunities. And like I said, they age out of the school system, and that social interaction aspect is now gone because I'm hanging out with mom all day, or I'm hanging out with dad all day at work because I really have nowhere to go. So this just provides a whole new level.
Are there, so we're actively working on something now for like high schoolers. So is there anything that, I guess, interns, or we'll use that terminology right now, anything that an intern could come in and learn or use training behind you guys? Is there something that's already in place to where we can say, hey, go to this facility and get the training or get the what you're looking for? Is that something that you guys have?
Probably not right now, but I can tell you with the expansion, that's going to open up a lot more opportunities. We do have a partnership with UF and a possible few other medical opportunities as well. So I think that would be a great opportunity for any of your clients who may be looking to pursue something in the medical field. That would be a great time for them to come and shadow and just see kind of what it's all about and maybe serve a population in the future that is underserved and so misunderstood. A lot of people, I just want to be a doctor. Well, what kind of doctor do you want to be?
Yeah.
So lawyers, we need lawyers. We need people that vouch for these members and can speak for them in a court of law if something should happen. A lot of our caregivers pass away and these members are left unattended. So what happens then? They don't understand the way of the world or who to call if something happens. So
yeah, I was going to ask, like, what, you know, like to that point, you're talking about some of the schools and things like that, or organizations and things like that. So like HOSA in the schools, you know, is there a pipeline that, you know, or maybe that's already in the works, you know, once the expansion comes. I know our doors are in HOSA as well. So it's, you know, just they're always looking at, you know, what else is out there.
Right.
And then do y'all do anything like the Special Olympics or anything like that?
We do. We have a few members that participate in that. We partner heavily with them. And we actually just recently partnered with a few other of the organizations, ARC, Bridge to Hope, Kenny's Place. They also service special needs, and we did almost like our own Special Olympics. So how cool is that we're able to kind of bring what a real life sport would feel like to them, honestly, in a much softer level. We're not tackling, but that's exciting too. And honestly, they love speakers. They love for people to come and talk about their life experiences and that type of thing. So
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
No, so great episode. And I always, again, love the perspective of listening from different leaders. But this is always a cool question that I love to ask everybody because the difference.
Mm-hmm.
So for you yourself, Miss Sabrina Hughes, what is success to you?
We can edit this. I wasn't expecting that question. To me,
To you.
to me,
Right.
it's not a personal thing. Success to me is seeing my child graduate high school and just staring out into the field and knowing I did everything I could to give him the best life possible and know that he's going to be onto bigger and greater things than what I could have ever achieved. That's success to me.
That's beautiful.
TLC is important because it serves a population that's extremely underserved, not just in Marion County, not just in Florida, but all over the world. It's so important for us to raise awareness about these individuals that require help and assistance. And if we can transform one life, that's good enough for us. It's not always our plan to be the biggest, but it definitely is in the works to be the best level of day program that we can provide.
Perfect. I know you said that. Well, that was perfect. I know, but great job. Yeah, but great episode. Fellas, you got anything for Sabrina before we kick it off?
I'm not, Dan, you said something. I don't want to take it too far, but one of the things that you said is, you know, if you're able to help one person, and I think for what we do, that's one of the things. Like I know you want to help
everybody.
But if it's that one person that you can touch it, you can change their life and you know, do great wonders with. I know that does your heart.
Absolutely, yes. And thank you guys for all you do. It's like any nonprofit. It's so hard to raise awareness and teach people and show people what your passion is. But meeting with you and now getting to know you all, it's such a pleasure to be here. And I wish you guys all the success in the world.
Amen. How about your brother Miles? Anything?
Yeah, I mean, just, you know, with kudos to you and to your heart. You know, serving leadership. I know for all of us, that's, you know, that's near and dear to our heart. I know for me personally, serving leadership definitely is, you know, a cornerstone to what makes a community great. People that's willing to put themselves, you know, last to make sure that those that's underserved, you know, underrepresented, that their voices are heard. You know, they're able to have that platform, and you know, it is vital, especially now with, you know, so much going on in not just our own country, but just globally. And it's too easy for people to fall through the cracks. And so we need people that's willing to really take that stand for those who may not be able to advocate for themselves.
Right.
Just tip my hat to you.
Yeah, thank you. I love what you guys do, because so many young men and women out there, they need that safe space, and it's not there anymore. So to have your program means a lot, and I know you'll have a lot of success out of it.
Yes. So last thing I'll say, so there was no coincidence reason why we got connected and why we met and why you're here today. We're going to continue to partner and do things together, and that's the power of connection. That's the power of partnership and all those different things. So definitely look forward to continue doing work with you. So for all you guys watching, like I said, I know Sabrina's whole family is watching, so make sure you stop right now, like, subscribe, and comment. All right, we need 20 more followers to get to 1,000. We're hitting that 1,000 mark. I know after this episode, we're going to be at 1,000. All right. So definitely make sure you do that. So stop what you're doing, like, subscribe, and comment. Hey, in the comment section, interact with us. Let us know what you like, what you didn't like. It's all good. Everything counts. But just make sure you're interacting with us. Again, each and every week, we're going to be putting out these great episodes. So make sure you smash that button so you can get those alerts. All right. So Sabrina, going to pass it to you. All right. So very tough act. We always ask our guests to close it. What I need you to do is just look in that camera right there and just give any message to the people, encouragement, motivational, or whatever, however God leads you right now. We're closing it on you. So the floor is yours.
Okay. I'm just going to go with the classic Nike slogan, just do it. I mean, it's that easy. Just do it. Just get up, do it while you're tired, while you're anxious, while you're, wanting to give up. Just get up and keep pushing and keep doing it. And you'll make it. I promise. You'll make it. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard, but you'll look back and you'll say, I did that.
I did
Me.
that. Like that. I did that. Just do it.
Yep.
See y'all next time.